North Carolina is currently grappling with the aftermath of what meteorologists are calling a once-in-a-generation winter weather event. A massive atmospheric phenomenon, fueled by a rare convergence of an Arctic high-pressure system and a moisture-rich subtropical jet stream, has buried the Tar Heel state under a thick blanket of snow, bringing daily life to a grinding halt from the Blue Ridge Mountains to the Outer Banks. The storm, which intensified with bombogenesis speed over the weekend, has shattered records that have stood for over half a century. Governor Josh Stein, who declared a state of emergency 24 hours before the first flake fell, addressed the media from the North Carolina Emergency Operations Center. "This is not the North Carolina snow we are used to," the governor stated. "We are dealing with historic accumulations, life-threatening temperatures, and a logistical challenge that spans all 100 counties. Our priority is life safety and restoring the power grid." While North Carolina is no stranger to winter weather, the sheer volume of this event is unprecedented. According to the National Weather Service, NWS, the following unofficial totals have been recorded. The high country towns of Faust and Beech Mountain reported a staggering 32 inches of snow, with drifts reaching the roofs of single-story homes. In a region where 3 inches can cause a shutdown, Charlotte recorded 14 inches, its highest total since 1902. Raleigh-Durham International Airport reported 12.5 inches, effectively closing all runways. In a rare thundersnow event, Wilmington and Emerald Isle saw up to 6 inches of accumulation, a phenomenon that has not occurred with this intensity in decades. The beauty of the snow masks a grim reality. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services has confirmed 5 fatalities directly linked to the storm. 3 individuals perished in weather-related traffic accidents, while 2 others succumbed to hypothermia in rural parts of the state after power outages left their homes without heat. The North Carolina State Highway Patrol reported responding to over 2,400 calls for service and managing more than 900 vehicle collisions within a 48-hour window. "The roads are essentially skating rinks," said Colonel Freddy Johnson Jr. "Even with 4WD, the ice beneath the snow makes travel impossible." At the height of the storm, Duke Energy reported that over 450,000 customers were without power. The weight of the heavy, wet snow, often referred to as heart attack snow, caused thousands of trees to snap, taking down power lines and blocking critical access roads. Utility crews from as far away as Florida and Texas have been deployed to assist, but deep snow and impassable secondary roads have slowed restoration efforts. In many rural counties, residents are being warned that power may not be fully restored for several days, as temperatures are forecasted to plummet into the single digits. The economic impact is estimated to be in the hundreds of millions. Charlotte Douglas International Airport, a major global hub, was forced to cancel nearly 90% of its flight schedule, leaving thousands of travelers stranded in terminals. Logistics and supply chains have also been severed. Interstate 40 and Interstate 77 saw stretches of closure due to jackknifed tractor trailers. Grocery store shelves across the state were picked clean of essentials like bread, milk, and water days before the storm, and replenishment trucks are currently unable to reach many locations. The danger has not passed with the end of the snowfall. A deep freeze has settled over the state, with temperatures expected to drop to -5 degrees Fahrenheit, -20 degrees Celsius, in the mountains, and 10 degrees Fahrenheit, -12 degrees Celsius in the Central Plains. The National Weather Service has issued a hard freeze warning. This poses a severe risk of bursting pipes and continued ice hazards as the melted snow refreezes into black ice. Amidst the crisis, stories of Southern hospitality have emerged. In Greensboro, local Jeep clubs have organized to transport healthcare workers to hospitals. In Raleigh, several churches and community centers have opened their doors as emergency warming shelters for the homeless and those without power. As the sun begins to peek through the clouds, the long process of digging out begins. The North Carolina Department of Transportation, NCDOT, has deployed its entire fleet of 2,200 trucks to clear primary interstates, but they caution that neighborhood streets may remain unplowed for a week or more. Meteorologists are keeping a close eye on a potential warm-up later next week, which brings a new concern: significant flooding. The rapid melting of 15 to 20 inches of snow, combined with predicted spring rains, could overwhelm drainage systems and rivers across the Piedmont. Meanwhile, the fragile barrier islands of North Carolina, known as the Outer Banks, are facing a catastrophic recovery effort today after a relentless combination of king tides, a powerful nor'easter, and systemic coastal erosion culminated in the destruction of multiple oceanfront properties. What was once a picturesque line of vacation homes in Rodanthe and Nags Head has been transformed into a graveyard of splintered wood, shattered glass, and exposed septic systems as the Atlantic Ocean continues its aggressive inland march. The destruction began in the early hours of Monday morning when a low-pressure system stalled off the coast, generating sustained winds of 55 miles per hour, with gusts peaking at 74 miles per hour, hurricane-force strength. These winds acted as a massive shovel, pushing a wall of water toward the shore. According to the National Weather Service, NWS, in Newport/Morehead City, the storm surge reached 4 to 6 feet above dry ground, but it was the battering waves that delivered the final blow. Waves reaching heights of 15 to 20 feet crashed directly into the pilings of elevated homes. For many structures already weakened by years of beach erosion, the structural integrity simply gave way. The most harrowing scenes emerged from Rodanthe, a village on Hatteras Island that has become the ground zero for coastal collapse in recent years. At approximately 3 a.m., local residents reported hearing a sound like a freight train, followed by a sickening communal groan of snapping timber. "I watched my neighbor's deck vanish in one swell," said Marcus Thorne, a longtime resident of Highway 12. "By the next high tide, the entire kitchen was floating in the surf. These aren't just buildings, they are people's dreams being swallowed by the sea." Officials from Cape Hatteras National Seashore confirmed that at least 4 multi-story homes have completely collapsed into the ocean, while dozens of others have been red-tagged as uninhabitable due to compromised foundations. The debris field now stretches for over 15 miles, creating a secondary environmental disaster as insulation, electrical wiring, and household chemicals are swept into the marine sanctuary. The lifeblood of the Outer Banks, North Carolina Highway 12, has once again been severed. The North Carolina Department of Transportation, NCDOT, reported ocean overwash at several vulnerable spots, including the S-curves and the northern end of Buxton. The road is currently buried under 3 feet of sand and salt water, cutting off Hatteras Island from the mainland. "We have our plows out, but we aren't plowing snow. We're plowing the Atlantic Ocean," an NCDOT spokesperson stated. Emergency vehicles are currently using specialized high-clearance equipment to reach stranded residents, as the breach has made standard travel impossible. This event has reignited a fierce political and environmental debate regarding the future of the Outer Banks. Geologists from East Carolina University have long warned that the combination of rising sea levels and increased storm intensity makes oceanfront living in these high-hazard zones unsustainable. In many areas, the vegetation line, the legal boundary used to determine where a house can be built, has moved so far inland that houses are now standing in the public surf zone. "The ocean doesn't care about property lines," says Dr. Elena Vance, a coastal geologist. "What we are seeing is a natural barrier island trying to migrate, but our stationary houses are in the way." The economic fallout is expected to reach tens of millions of dollars. Many of these homes are high-end rental properties that generate significant tax revenue for Dare County. However, as the homes fall into the sea, the cost of debris cleanup, often exceeding $50,000 per house, frequently falls on the taxpayers when homeowners insurance or FEMA coverage reaches its limit. The Dare County Emergency Management Office has issued a stern warning to disaster tourists to stay away from the area. The debris in the water, including large nails and jagged wood, poses a lethal threat to anyone attempting to surf or walk the beaches near the collapse sites. While no fatalities have been reported in this latest surge, the psychological toll on the community is heavy. Many residents are facing the reality that they may never be allowed to rebuild. "You buy a piece of paradise, and you know the risks," said Thorne, looking out at the churning gray Atlantic. "But you never truly expect to see the ocean sitting in your living room." The danger has not subsided. Meteorologists warn that a second high tide cycle tonight could bring even more destruction. With the dunes flattened by the first wave of the storm, there is now no natural defense left to protect the remaining cottages. Meanwhile, a standard winter evening turned into a survival situation on Saturday, January 31st, 2026, as a historic bomb cyclone delivered a crippling blow to North Carolina's transportation infrastructure. The focal point of the chaos was a major stretch of Interstate 85 northbound, where a relatively minor collision escalated into a massive traffic paralysis, leaving over 100 vehicles stranded in sub-freezing temperatures for nearly 5 hours. The incident began around 4:34 p.m. near mile marker 62 in Cabarrus County, just north of Charlotte. According to the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, NCSHP, the catalyst was a non-injury collision between a semi-truck and a Jeep. While the initial wreck was minor, the timing was devastating. Heavy snowfall, up to 9 to 11 inches in the Kannapolis area, began accumulating rapidly on the asphalt. As traffic slowed to a crawl to navigate around the wreckage, vehicles lost critical momentum. Within minutes, 30 tractor-trailers and approximately 70 passenger cars became immobilized by the deepening snow and ice, effectively turning the interstate into a 3-mile-long parking lot. The situation was so severe that Governor Josh Stein and North Carolina Emergency Management were forced to deploy the North Carolina National Guard. 6 heavy-duty guard trucks, along with specialized towing crews from Cabarrus and surrounding counties, were sent to the scene to dig out the stranded motorists. "We were limited in what we could do because the interstate was physically impassable for standard plow trucks," stated First Sergeant Christopher Knox of the NCSHP. Photos from the Kannapolis Fire Department showed a haunting line of stopped vehicles stretching into the snowy distance, with drivers huddled inside for warmth. The I-85 incident was just one part of a statewide traffic nightmare. By Sunday afternoon, the North Carolina State Highway Patrol had responded to over 1,000 collisions across the state. Tragically, 2 storm-related deaths were confirmed, though the specific identities of the victims have not been released. Charlotte Douglas International Airport, CLT, saw its own share of chaos, with 800 flights canceled and a ground stop issued for American Airlines during the height of the storm. In a separate harrowing event, a semi-truck was struck by a train at Poplar Street in Gastonia after getting stuck on the tracks due to snow. The driver miraculously escaped without injury. As the I-85 lanes finally reopened around 9:30 p.m. Saturday, the danger shifted from snow to extreme cold. Meteorologists from the National Weather Service warned of black ice as temperatures plummeted into the teens. Governor Stein urged all North Carolinians to remain off the roads on Monday, February 2nd, to allow NCDOT crews to clear secondary routes. "This is a record-breaking storm," Stein noted. "The safest place you can be is at home. If you must drive, keep a full tank of gas, a charged phone, and a blanket." The economic and logistical impact of the I-85 shutdown is expected to linger. With over 30 tractor-trailers delayed, regional supply chains for food and medical supplies have seen minor disruptions. Most school districts in the Piedmont, including Charlotte-Mecklenburg and Wake County, have announced closures or remote learning for Monday due to the hazardous road conditions left behind by the Great Snow of '26.